massive blow up on
Facebook
pretty
controversial, banning SpeedSoft. Well, not actually banning SpeedSoft. Yeah, actually changing playstyles. Hi there, you're watching Airsoft Action TV. I'm Gareth, Gadge, Harvey.
And I'm Tom, Anvil Hibberd.
And today we're talking about the controversial decision by the Stan Airsoft site in Sheffield to restrict SpeedSoft players from their open days. Now, a lot of people were justifiably very upset reading that, but if you actually read the original post, what they were trying to do is actually regulate the way people played at a single shot site.
Yeah, there was a couple of things, wasn't there? And I know Wallace quite well, the guy that runs the stand. It's an old warehouse. There's lots of glass and posts and sticky outy things and loose debris on the floor.
Yeah.
Which obviously it doesn't
so
particularly.
You've got to be fairly cautious with your movement.
Yeah, running around and sliding on your knees probably isn't the best idea at the best of times. And also, yes, as you say, it's about rate of fire and spamming of triggers.
Yeah.
So really, what he's really getting at is he doesn't want really high rate of fire guns and on semi being feathered and burst incredibly hard.
I'm going to put my cards on the table here. So I'm really pro SpeedSoft. I think it's a really exciting way of playing airsoft. I come from a paintball background. When I was about 14 years old, I started marshalling playing at a local site, marshalling when I was about 16, 17. Became a member of the site team. Really used to it. And when paintball got about high speed markers and high visibility and sort of
you've almost been through all this before, haven't you?
Yeah, exactly. Do you know, not a problem with it. However, the thing is, when you took that level of play, which is fantastic in tournament play, it's the only way you can do tournament play, to be honest.
Yeah.
And it's really good to watch.
Yeah.
Whereas woodland paintball is boring. Now, when you take that really fast, extreme play style onto an open day, when you've got maybe 20 student nurses having a day out jolly or a stag do, all of a sudden those play styles jar really badly. And I think what we really need in the UK is dedicated SpeedSoft events.
Well, it's difficult, isn't it? Because then you kind of got to start defining what is SpeedSoft.
Yeah.
And then what is Airsoft and what is Milsim. But we know what Airsoft is, though.
Well, we had a definition for Airsoft.
We did, so most people won't know this because they've not been in the sport long enough, and that's not me being disparaging in any way. But back in 2006, 2007, Airsoft, almost as an activity in the UK, was almost banned. So we were going to just lose the ability to buy, own and manufacture replica imitation firearms.
You'd only be playing whatever you had left, wouldn't you?
Yeah, it was, and they've also proposed clear guns and brightly coloured guns and all sorts and things which didn't look remotely like real firearms. And a lot of campaigning was done, and the Home Office eventually backed down. And a definition was legally agreed of airsoft in the UK. Airsoft in the UK, I'm just going to read off a note here, is the acting out of military and law enforcement scenarios for the purposes of recreation.
Yeah.
So for oldies like me, I see, and don't get me wrong, I quite like the idea of SpeedSoft. I think it's brilliant. But it raises alarm bells in my head because it's not.
We're not doing the thing specified.
Doing the thing which is legally defined as airsoft.
But I think again, we're going to go back to paintball here, and I know you're not here to watch Paintball channel, but really this is literally like reinventing the wheel almost for me. Back in the 80s, paintball was obviously the big worry thing to do. Airsoft didn't really exist in the UK.
No.
And it all was about wearing camouflage and being Rambo and going around the woods and stuff. Now, unfortunately, in the late 80s, early 90s, there was a series of very, very bad shootings in the UK. And there's a knee-jerk reaction to ban private ownership of firearms, especially pistols, semi-automatics, etc.
Yep.
And the way paintball got around this is it changed its public image. So while paintball used to be like what we are in airsoft, they went, do you know what, we'll stop calling them guns, we'll call them markers. Yeah. We'll make the visible face of paintball brightly coloured lycra, full face masks, oscillating hoppers, markers that fired several shots a second.
Well, there's big inflatable obstacles.
Big inflatable obstacles, Marshall Towers where you could see it all, and it became a proper tournament sport. And doing that took the heat off them from being looked at by all people want to ban guns, that sort of stuff.
But it also looks awesome. So
yeah.
Skirmish Nottingham, up near Budby, where I've played quite a lot in the past, is also a paintball field, and they have full-on paintball tournaments.
And there's a lot of money in those paintball tournaments as well.
Quite often when I'm out there playing airsoft, they have paintball tournaments on, and you watch them, and do you know what? Gadge, it looks awesome.
It's really good fun to play.
It looks awesome.
I used to love it. Right. But the thing is, I think if SpeedSoft as a sport, and I really want to see this happen, if it can do the same thing and say, do you know what, we are the actual sporting side of airsoft, because we all call airsoft a sport, let's be honest. I think it's more of a hobby.
It absolutely fails to meet most of the definitions of sport. It's only in the UK because you need to have governing bodies and site ownership bodies and all sorts of stuff.
But I think SpeedSoft could do that.
Yes, it could.
Because it's very easy to regulate. You've got 5 to 10 minute rounds. It doesn't matter like if people are very fast, double action triggers, that sort of stuff, because everybody else is on a level playing field.
Yeah.
I think one of the analogies I made earlier, Tom, and I hope you agree with me on this one, is I a lot of people don't like SpeedSofters at open days because, again, the play style is something they're not used to.
I don't like using the word aggressive, but that's the way it gets.
Yeah, it's very assertive, isn't it?
Yeah, it's not really aggressive. It's very competitive, and I think what comes up for me, and what I've read in a lot of discussions, is almost one of the biggest differences between SpeedSoft and Airsoft, or Airsoft Milsim, is that in Airsoft the aim is number one not to get hit, number two to eliminate your opponent. Yeah. In SpeedSoft, number one is eliminate your opponent, number two, don't get hit. Yeah. And that causes, there's a massive dichotomy between those two.
But I think what I really want to say about this as well is that, to me, I like Milsim, right? I love wearing a full-on loadout that's completely accurate, like plate carriers, everything, yeah? Now, I wouldn't go to an open day in full Milsim loadout and shout orders at a new player as if I was in the TA or something.
You wouldn't turn up in your 70s Afghan kit and start screaming and rushing at people,
No, I wear a pair of combats and a t-shirt and a chest rig for most open days, that sort of stuff.
In fact, the kit we wear to open days,
it's pretty civilian, isn't it, really?
Well, it's not based on any one particular military whatsoever,
exactly.
Is it?
It's a multicam top and a pair of grey trousers, you know. Yeah. But the thing point I'm trying to make here, really, is that, to me, open days have to be open to all, and that includes Milsim as SpeedSoft as general players, but they need to be a level playing field, because that's where most people get a bite of Airsoft from. Yeah. And if they're going to be put off, they're going to be put off by the guy head to toe multicam saying move into cover there, move, and that sort of stuff. Or they're going to get put off by being charged at by a guy in bright coloured lycra that they don't understand.
Well, there's also a difference between, so SpeedSoft often gets kind of lumped in with HPA guns.
It doesn't have to be though, does it?
Well, no, not at all. Yeah. But I think part of the point of the HPA guns is that people with HPA guns tend to have spent quite a lot of time on them.
Tuning them and stuff.
Getting them right, getting them really accurate. So putting a really highly tuned airsoft gun of any sort up against someone, a new guy with a higher gun, whose hop may or may not be set, who's using probably quite basic ammunition. There's although we've done some testing, and we have done, and in our testing, what we found is the maximum range is probably about the same. The effective range for a highly tuned gun is is about 10-20 metres longer,
which will make a massive difference to a new player.
And it could really put them off, couldn't it?
Yeah, I mean, and to me, the thing is, as a Milsim fan, and Milsim has its own circuit. There's an event every weekend around the country, so you don't tend to get open day Milsim players going to open days that much, because they'd rather spend their time and money living in a ditch for 24 hours. And unfortunately, SpeedSoft doesn't have that circuit. We need to change that. I think some side needs to get up, put out a really fast, obstacle-laden flat field, and do these quick time games, and maybe even have a tournament or something.
Well, saying that, Wallace, Skirmish the Stan, Skirmish Nottingham, is going to do just that.
He said he's going to start with some inflatable objects on the woodland fields and stuff.
He is. So he's going to. Well, that field is perfect because it's a paintball field. They've also got all the inflatable obstacles, and they've got the hyperball.
To be honest, I think any paintball side will be ideal. I mean, I played not so much speedball tournament games. I played a couple of those, but I played a lot of site team versus site team tournaments, that sort of stuff on paintball fields. And paintball fields are more suited to this fast, adrenaline-filled, rapid-paced games.
They tend to be more balanced as well, don't they? So they tend to have, if they've built a village, the village tends to be vaguely symmetrical.
Yeah, if there's a tank on that side, there's a tank on that side.
So
and they're more structured than airsoft sites. Airsoft sites tend to be built as a labour of love by people who want to be in Vietnam, whereas paintball sites tend to be built as a business. And there's nothing wrong with that. You know, like if it wasn't a business, we wouldn't be making this channel right now. You know?
So, but I'd love to see it grow. To me, the one proviso that I would like, and this is me being all dead boring and old, is I would like them to not use riffs.
Yeah, I think it makes sense. To be honest,
have a brightly coloured gun that's not fine. It can be military based, but let's make sure it's an imitation firearm, not a riff. That was the dog sneezing. And actually after that, I'd be quite happy, because at that point SpeedSoft could be playing a very different game to regular Airsoft with very different.
But I think you'll see that if we have a SpeedSoft tournament system, I think you'll start to see a lot of AEGs that have function over form, and you're going to see things with no relation to a real world gun at all.
Because
the thing is, right now,
all sorts of stuff.
Airsoft replicas are constrained by the real world build. You have to fit the motor in a certain size.
Very true.
The battery or the hose attachment has to go in a certain place, because that's how a real M16's built. The magazine can only be so many capacity, because that's how real things built. If you're building things purely for a sport, where the object is to eliminate the other player,
it's really interesting.
Those constraints are out the window. Look, you're going to see some crazy ADs.
It's a really interesting proposition, actually, Gadge. If you've got any ideas what a 6mm speedball gun might look like, BB chucker blaster thing, let us know down below, because that's a really interesting kind of concept.
We also want to know, how do you feel about SpeedSoft? Do you think it's killing the hobby? I disagree with you there. I think it's an exciting thing. Or do you think it's the best thing since sliced bread? Do you think that you should be able to do whatever style of play you want on an open day and sod the new guy? Or do you feel that open day should be moderated towards a level playing field? We want to see your opinions in the comments down below.
So this has been Airsoft Action TV. I've been Tom Anvil Hibberd.
And I've been Gareth Gadge Harvey.
Please like, subscribe, ding that bell, and we'll see you next time.